Alright guys, welcome back to another one. We're doing some more mini shells today. The 12 gauge factory style mini shell video I did just went live this morning. I actually filmed that about a week ago. So you guys are seeing this about a week after I recorded it. Yeah, 1 3/4 inch 16 gauge mini shell. We're going with a Shadot primer. Alright, just like that. Now, the load, it took me a little bit to find this. Apparently, there's not many people out there that do 16 gauge mini shells, but there are a few. But that's not what I was looking for. I was just looking for 16 gauge light loads with low pressure. So, came across a forum post. This guy has an old, I don't remember what it was, some kind of side-by-side that he likes to feed it very light loads with green dot. The load he published, it's pressure tested. It's 5,500 psi, which is very low. It's 14.5 grains of green dot, 3/4 ounce load using a, what was it, Claybuster wad, I believe it was. But we are using 16 gauge, 1/2 inch waxed hard card. We're just trimming off one little piece of it to use as a over powder wad and for a little bit of cushioning, and the shot cup off of the Claybuster blue wad, 1/8 wad. We're also trimming about 1/4 of the wad pedals off. We are roll crimping this load. For an overshot card, I'm using a bingo chip that I took a flat file to and trimmed it down to 16 gauge size, about 2/3 of an inch. Alright, but if I remember to, I'll include, when I'm editing this video, I'll include a picture of the load that I found on the forum. But it took me about an hour to figure out how to put this load together, because again, this is not something anyone else has really done. So what I came up with was wax hard card, shot cup, and instead of 14.5 grains, I'm using 12 grains again, and again 15 pellets of number 4 buck, which is a 3/4 ounce load. And one thing I did notice through this load that I discovered is that Federal 12 gauge load had 12 grains in it, and the box says 1200 FPS, okay? For a 15 pellet buffered number 4 buck load, it's just slightly over 3/4 of an ounce. This load is published, and the velocity on it is 1069, a lot lower than 1200 FPS. And it's at a smaller bore, 16 gauge. You'd figure to be higher velocity, because this is using 14.5 grains of powder. The load I came across is, and the same 3/4 ounce of shot, and it's lower velocity. That don't make any sense. So I think that 1200 FPS on the box of 12 gauge, I have it behind the camera here, is a bit optimistic. I don't think it's 1200 FPS. It's probably around 1,000. So let's get to loading this up. So grains. Again, we're using 12 grains. Again, this load right here, out of the 16 gauge, with the 12 grains, it might be pushing 1,000 FPS. Pretty light load. Actually, that 12 gauge load might be only 950. I overshot it at 17 grains. 14. There we go, 12 grains. Waxed hard card. I already trimmed off a section of this because, well, I loaded one of these up off camera just to see exactly how much I needed for this. And it's about 1/16 of an inch. Something along those lines right there. you want to load it this side down to start off with. You get two sides flat like that. Center of it will be like that. But I like to load these flat side down, shiny side down. I'm gonna go ahead and use my press. This is the 20 gauge press. When I'm done loading this up, I got something to show you guys with this press that I just recently discovered. Trim off your shot cup off the wad. Just like that. And wire cutters, scissors, whatever you got. Trim off about 1/4 of it. Should look something like that, and yes, I'll clean those up when I'm done. That's going to sit just like that, right where it needs to be for the roll crimp. Now we're going to need 15 pellets of number 4 buck. I'll tell you guys exactly what the lead payload weight is. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is 16 pellets. Yeah, 16 pellets is exactly 0.75, 3/4 of an ounce. So that federal load isn't even a full 3/4 ounce. Just like that. 4 rows of 4. That 12 gauge load, now the more I dig into this, I realize just how light of a load that is for 12 gauge. That's 3/4 ounce and 12 grains of green dot. That's pretty light, like really light for 12 gauge. It's really light for 16 gauge. Buffer. Had it sitting here somewhere. I guess I put it up. Yeah. ITX buffer. Probably just needs 1 scoop. Yep, 1 scoop did it. And our overshot card. Again, this is a bingo chip. 3/4 inch bingo chip that I trimmed to fit the 16 gauge hole with a just a flat file. Just like that. Yeah, purple on purple. Looks pretty cool. Roll crimper I'm using, 16 gauge Forest Camping. Being honest here, this is not a very good roll crimper. The 12 gauge one's really good, but the 16 gauge kind of, nah. Kind of hard to hold on to though. I can't even get a good grip on that. I'm gonna have to get the clamp from over here. Shell's too short to hold on to. This is a broken clamp too, so just do what we can with what we got. I guess I really don't have any way to tighten this down really well. See if that works. Nope, I figured that would happen. Well, how am I going to solve this problem? I guess just shove down on it as hard as I can. It's working, but not really. That last one didn't give me near this trouble. It's about closed. I bet this is pretty funny to watch. If only I had a hole vise. It's about closed. I'm gonna call that good. It's closed enough to where it won't come open. I can see them pellets in there, it looks pretty cool. But there is your 16 gauge mini shell. Again, it's only running slightly over 1,000 FPS. But for a good, home defense load, something to let your kids shoot, teach somebody how to shoot shotguns, it's a pretty good little load to use right there. Next, I'll be working on some 10 gauge mini shells, maybe some 20. That right there is actually a 20 gauge shell, believe it or not. It's one of them paper holes that I painted seafoam green. Check this out. This press right here, right now, is set up for 20 gauge. Here's a 16 gauge shell, okay? Depriming station, 16 gauge shell goes up in it perfectly. You can resize and deprime and reprime, set your powder, wad, and shot, pre-crimp, all on the 20 gauge Lee load all with the 16 gauge shell. Just to show you, this is a 6-point crimp right here. Again, 16 gauge shell, 20 gauge press. No difference. All stations are identical except for the final crimp station on the 20 and the 16 gauge Lee load all presses. Just something I noticed. Something weird. But I guess that's going to end this video here, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, ideas for me, leave them down in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching, and tune in to the next one.